Well, on October 7, 2023, dekel-chen was outside his home, kibbutz near Oz, and first noticed that Hamas terrorists had entered the community. Sagi, a dual American-Israeli citizen, grew up on this kibbutz, and he worked for a nonprofit helping poor communities in Israel. When he saw the attack that day, he hid his pregnant wife and two young daughters inside a secure bunker, then went back outside with the kibbutz security team. He was last seen at 9:30 a.m. local time. Sagi's third daughter was born 2 months later. 16 months since his disappearance, Sagi is believed to be one of two Americans still alive in Gaza, and he could be included in the next round of hostages that are released under the ceasefire deal, perhaps 2 days from now. Sagi's father, Jonathan, joins us right now. Okay. Jonathan, first of all, thank you for joining us. And before we get into any kind of details or politics or anything like that, tell us about your son.
Well, Sagi, as he said, is a 36-year-old father of three little girls. I think one could sort of categorize him as a guy who just loves being the father of young girls. He, by his own choosing, is a creator. He's a builder. A man of the community, several communities, our own kibbutz, small community, a man of the region, and in a sense also a peace builder, someone who, through his profession, was trying what he could do to advance the non-Jewish communities in our part of the country.
Right. The irony of that, and it's amazing, there have been other stories like that have come out since October 7th. Now tell us, if you can, about yourself and how these past 16 months have been for you. And now that we're at this point, how do you feel today?
Well, today is kind of, in great part, it's the same way that I've felt since October 8th, 2023, almost 500 days ago, the day after the massacre on our kibbutz. Sagi is one of 23 hostages still remaining in Gaza just from my community. These are extended family members, and there are, of course, a total of 79. We are, of course, very anxious to, obviously, to have Sagi freed, reunited with his family. All of the hostages, those who are still alive, and several dozen, we know have already been murdered. They're in constant danger. This is not, a regular prison situation, or these are hostages held by a murderous terrorist organization that has shown it has no regard for human life, Israelis or even Palestinian for that matter. So there's always been an urgency, thanks to President Trump and his team over the course of the last, or since even before the inauguration. There's been positive movement. Some hostages have been released in this first round of agreement, but there's an awful lot more work that needs to get done.
And right before, perhaps your son is one of those that's released, we hope, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has been here in America meeting with President Trump, and everybody probably watched the press conference the other night and the comments made by the president. How has all of that made you feel with this, especially at the time it's coming? Has it reassured you? Or how do you feel this week about the politics of it all?
Well, I'm the father of a hostage.
Yeah.
I really don't. I really would prefer not to deal with the politics. What I can say is that we have seen by his actions and those of his team the complete commitment of President Trump to getting the job done. Not just for the good of the families and the hostages, but also for Israel's best interest, the interests of the United States and of the region as a whole. Whatever was said in the press conference the other night with President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, that part is clear, that there is an absolute commitment on the side of the United States to do what needs to be done in order to end this conflict and get hostages home and stop the fighting, stop the madness in Gaza.
And hopefully some good news finally coming for you and your family very, very soon. Thanks so much. We'll obviously hoping for the best, but thanks so much for today, Jonathan. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.